Hey, what's up everybody? It's your boy Donald Francis and welcome to DF Films. So listen, not too long ago, I had recorded a scene out of a full production and it's called Betrayal. We kept the air out for a reason, but I'll tell you about that a little later. But today I wanted to channel for beginners camera angles. And the simpler your camera angles are, the better your movie can be. The good thing about camera angles is that you want your camera angles to be complementary to the storyline of the movie, so that when the viewers look at it, they can feel the effect and they can feel like they're a part of the movie versus someone who's just looking in like a third wheel. You know what I'm saying? So as you can see, there are two men who are sitting at a table, and one name is Ray, the guy on the right, and the other guy name is Tommy. Tommy is Ray's right-hand man, and both of them are plotting on a lady by the name of Luna. She has this particular drive that will show them where the big money is. But the crazy thing about it was that Tommy was about to betray Ray. Now listen, let me tell you something. If you haven't seen the scene yet, please go back, before you see this and take a look at the scene, because it's going to be a spoiler alert. Matter of fact, I think I just did. But what I wanted you to channel in on, that even though that there's going to be a betrayal, the first scene helps us to see that at least both of them are still like-minded. One know one thing, the other one doesn't, but everything is still easy breezy because the dialogue haven't intensified yet, And so as they begin to get into the dialogue, things are starting to unfold slowly but surely. When the dialogue started to intensify, we realized we don't need to put them both in frame anymore, because their friendship is about to depart. So now we went to medium close-ups on both of them, not showing both of them in the frame ever again, because we knew that the more and more that the dialogue started to intensify, they were slowly but surely, moving away from their friendship and their trust for each other. And so before you know it, we get that intense moment as to where Tommy leans in after Ray had asked for what happened to the drive. And Tommy's about to reveal that Anthony never had the drive, he did, and then pulling his gun out and shooting Ray. But again, it had all to do with the storytelling, and it had all to do with your camera angles. You keep them in frame until things start to separate, and then you start to separate them. And let me tell you what I really wanted to do, and I know what I could have done, but I decided to keep it nice and plain, you see? Now, obviously, I could have done a micro shot, of a sweat on the eyebrows of Ray as Tommy was telling him and revealing to him he had, the device all that particular time. I could have, while Tommy was laughing before he revealed, what he was about to reveal, have a micro shot on his mouth, as he laughed in a conniving way. We could have did that, but I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to keep it nice and plain as I channel beginners. In the beginning of the scene, instead of allowing for the scene to be revealed that they're at the table, I wanted to do what they call a frame within a frame, but I didn't have the kind of dolly. I left the dolly at the storage, that would allow for me to do a nice push in, or maybe a pan shot across the frame, making the audience feel like that they're sneaking in on listening to what they're saying. Also, when you do a frame within a frame from far away, will help the audience to understand that it is obviously a private conversation and you wanted that private feel. See, again, it's all about your camera angles and how you relay things, And of course, I love to have static shots. I don't like the shakies, But if you notice within the movie, I did shake a little bit right before everything was revealed to Ray, so that I can intensify the movement. You get what I'm saying? And so now let's get to lighting. I did one over the head pan light. And what I did was I took some black foil, trimmed it around the light so that we can have that directional light shooting straight down to the table and having some of the light hit them right on their face. Didn't want to do any practicals. I could have did that if I wanted to, but I wanted to keep it just simple. That's it. One light. And I love that type of mood where we had like that beaver look. You had the darkness around here and maybe a little bit on the chin and underneath the, underneath the chin and underneath the lip area. I wanted that so that as they move back and forth, that would make that dramatic feel. I could have gotten bounce light. I could have did cove lighting for sure, but I wanted to make it very, very simple for those of us who are beginners. It's okay, y'all. You can do one light and angle it and make it very much cinematic. Of course, I had to use some haze, to make things softer, and to make it that much more dramatic, And in fact, when you take a look at the light, let me tell you a new word that, I've learned. Some of you have probably already learned this, but it's called chiaroscuro. A lot of cinematographers, they took it from painters. You look at the Mona Lisa and stuff like that, and Mr. George Washington, those of them who had pictures and paintings, what they did was that they allowed for the subject to be in light, but it was coupled with black all around the background. And that's the reason why you have that interrogation type of look, but it was really called chiaroscuro. So this is the reason why we had made this light the way it was. Maybe, I think I did one little cute, like one little face light, one little cue light or practical light from way far, and it's very, very vague. You'll see it on the side on both of them. It's very, very vague. I could have used some colored light if I wanted to, but no, I wanted to make sure everything was nice and plain, but yet straight to the point, you see? Now, let's get to sound. Sound is something I am learning how to master. And I say learning on a humble, and my last, video clip, I already thanked, Mr. D4 Darius, but I also, in this particular aspect, want to thank a brother by the name of Kent Lynn. He is a cinematographer guru, and these guys have taught me so much to the point that I've studied this every single day, the audio. Now, one of the things that you have to understand about the audio is that I did the entire audio over from the audio that we recorded when we shot the film. The reason for that is because, quick fun fact, when Tommy went in to push in to, have that little eye light, for you to see through that darkness before he really revealed, what he was going to do, and he asked him, remember the locker, right? At the same time he said that over the original audio, there was a car that drove by. And I'm like, oh man, so I didn't want to. And of course I could have, I could have fixed it, and I could have just left the rest of the audio, the way it was. But I didn't want different type of sounds of audio and different type of shades of audio. So what I did was I erased everything. I did. And I met Tommy, his name is really Lameek, and I met Ray, whose name is Jermaine. And I went to their homes. One of my friends were recording and filming his film, at the basement, which is where we've done this particular clip. But I couldn't go and I couldn't make it to them because I had to go and do audio for this clip. Let me tell you, not every cinematographer get their full recognition on, taking care of the things that people would never ever notice because everything sounds so natural. So I did the ambient sound over. I did Ray's complete audio over. I did Tommy's complete audio over. Even when Tommy hit the table, that was me. Even when he grabbed the tissue, you heard, that was me. Even when you saw Ray and how he was scraping the container, that was me, And so again, this is what we call cinematography at its best, because everybody, they love your video, but if your sound is garbage, they will not look at your movie at all. So for all of you cinematographers that are out there, please do me a great favor, do you a great favor. If your audio is not together, do it over. And don't be afraid, just do it over and say, this ain't right, I'm not releasing this until. Listen, if you go to my page, It's All You TV, you can see a plethora of all of the things that I've done. That was a mistake, but I did it because I wanted to get to this particular point in my life, And soon I have a big production that's coming up, and it's gonna be fire. It's going to be fire, And with that, I think I'm going to use my ARRI Alexa 35. And so with that, everybody, I want to let you know that sound is very, very important. The more detailed your sound can be, the more pleasurable and more effective your movie will be, And so, yeah, y'all. And again, it's always good to make sure that your lighting's together, set designs together, make sure that the sound is together, make sure that your camera angles are together, and when everything comes together, you'll find yourself having a banger movie. There is a such thing as singling the person out through a push in, where you push past the person that you had an over the shoulder shot, And as you push past, you're singling out the person who's revealing what they have to say to the individual. And that's another way that you could reveal, having separate shots, And I wanted to show you through objects because I did not do it in this clip, but it would have been a great thing to have been able to do, But I wanted to make everything nice and plain because I want for all of you who are beginners not to feel so overwhelmed, about your next movie. Listen, an established shot is good. Over the shoulder shots will be great. And then your inserts or close-up shots will be necessary. Don't forget, audio is important. All right. And listen, if you got value out of this, do me a favor, just tap the subscribe button, or hit the like button. You get what I'm saying? Show brother some love, because I'm going to be coming back with more in-depth information on how to do great cinematography. This is your boy Donald Francis, and welcome to DF Films again. And I'll talk to you the next movie. Peace.